One of the most remarkable features of British rule in India has been the fact that the greatest injuries done to the people of India have taken the outward form of blessings. Of this, education is a striking example, for no more crushing blows have ever been struck at the roots of Indian evolution than those which have been struck, often with other and the best intentions, in the name of education. It will be for us to develop the Indian intelligence through the medium of Indian culture, and building thereupon, to make it possible for India to resume her place amongst the nations, not merely as a competitor in material production, but as a teacher of all that belongs to a true civilization, a leader of the future, as of the past. Herein, the ordinary English educator can help but little, and can hinder much. None can be true educators of the Indian people who cannot inherit their traditions, or cannot easily work in a spirit of perfect reverence for those traditions. Others can be, not educators, but merely teachers of particular subjects. As such, there is still room in India for English teachers, but they should be, not in power, but subordinate. They should be engaged by, paid by, and responsible to Indian managers. As, in Japan, English teachers are responsible to Japanese authorities. A single generation of English education suffices to break the threads of tradition and to create a nondescript and superficial being deprived of all roots, a sort of intellectual pariah who does not belong to the East or the West, the past or the future. The most crushing indictment of this education is the fact that it destroys, in the great majority of those upon whom it is inflicted, all capacity for the appreciation of Indian culture. Firstly, the almost universal philosophical attitude, contrasting strongly with that of the ordinary Englishman, who hates philosophy. In India, even the peasant will grant you that all this is Maya. He may not understand the full significance of what he says, but consider the deepening of European culture needed before the peasant there could say, however blindly, that the world is but appearance, and by no means thing in itself. Secondly, the sacredness of all things, the antithesis of the European division of life into sacred and profane, the intimate entwining of the transcendental and material, this annihilation of the possibility of profanity or vulgarity of thought, explains the strength and permanence of Indian faith and demonstrates not merely the stupidity, but the wrongness of attempting to replace a religious culture by one entirely material. Thirdly, the true spirit of religious toleration, illustrated continually in Indian history and based upon a consciousness of the fact that all religious dogmas are formulas imposed upon the infinite by the limitations of the finite human intellect. Fourthly, etiquette, civilization conceived of as the product of civil men. There is a Sinhalese proverb that runs, "Take the plowman from the plow and wash off his dirt, and he is fit to rule a kingdom." This was spoken, says Knox, of the people of Kande Uda, the highlands of Ceylon, because of the civility, understanding, and gravity of the poorest men among them. Fifthly, special ideas in relation to education, such as the relation between teacher and pupil, implied in the words of Guru and Chela, master and disciple, memorizing great literature, the epics as embodying ideals of character, learning a privilege demanding qualifications, not to be forced on the unwilling or used as a mere road to material prosperity, extreme importance of the teacher's personality. As the man who digs with a spade obtains water, even so an obedient pupil obtains the knowledge which lies in his teacher. Manu 2, 2:18. Sixthly, the basis of ethics are not any commandments, but the principle of altruism, founded on the philosophical truth, thy neighbor is thyself, recognition of the unity of all life. Seventhly, control, not merely of action, but of thoughts, concentration, one-pointedness, capacity for stillness. These are some of the points of view which are intrinsic in Indian culture, and must be recognized in any sound educational idea for India. The aim should be to develop the people's intelligence through the medium of their own national culture. For the national culture is the only Aussichtspunkt, point of view from which, in relation to a wider landscape, a man can rightly sich am Danken orientieren, orient himself in thinking. Our university must above all be a school of oriental learning sufficient not only for ourselves, but to attract scholars from all parts of the world to learn the wisdom of the East in the East. To this, culture has to be added, for those brought into contact with the modern idea, some part of that wider synthesis that should enable such a one to understand what may be the nature of the prospect seen from some other of the great headlands, the other national cultures, wherefrom humanity has gazed into the dim sea of the infinite unknown.